Hi, I'm Kalynn Amadio, your boomer host and creator of the Boomer's Ultimate Guide podcast. And I have a topic today that I know you boomers are going to love. Millions of Americans struggle to prepare for a future of uncertainty, while others have made absolutely no plans at all. Many of you wonder, will my money be there when I need it? Or you might ask yourself, will I outlive my money? In the book, Ready for Pretirement, Plan Retirement Early so your money is there when you need it, author Kris Miller says that we can and should embrace the money-making and protective strategies of the top 1%. So my guest today, Kris Miller, #1 best-selling author and safe money strategist, has advised over 5,000 families in the past 22 years on retirement and estate planning issues. She coined the phrase pretirement, retirement with a P in front, pretirement, to emphasize how we need to prepare for our golden years, way before we retire. Her new book, Ready for Pretirement, 3 Secrets for Safe Money and a Fabulous Future, is a comprehensive guide to help anyone at any age to plan for retirement. You're going to be able to learn more about Kris at her website, readyforpretirement.com, or you'll be able to read more at her blog, chrismillermoneymaestro.com, and I will include both of those links in the show notes so that you can find them easily. But Kris, I want to first welcome you to the Boomer's Ultimate Guide podcast.
Thank you. A privilege to be here.
I'm so glad you could take time for me today. We were just discussing before we recorded. I'm in New York and she's in California, so it's a little bit early for her. So I always have to thank my California guests for getting up that 3 hours early for me. I really appreciate it.
All right.
So tell me a little more about you and what you do, how you ended up in finance and helping people figure out their whole retirement from a finance standpoint.
Right. Well, I'm known as the money mythbuster, and I show people how to make their money last as long as they do. And I've never lost one dime of my clients' money in the last 23 years.
Oh, my goodness.
So what I've discovered is actually safe money strategies. As a financial planner, they train us to put everybody in the stock market. And it's a mindset to me that is old. I mean, it worked great for my dad. He did well in the market. But that market or model is broken. And so what it forced me to do after I lost money in the market was dive deeper and learn safe money strategies so that people can make money but never lose a dollar in the stock market. So I've discovered some amazing tools that I've been sharing with people, and they work.
Oh, excellent. I told you guys you're going to love this interview. No, there's no one on the planet, especially a boomer, as we're aging, who doesn't want to hear, gee, how can I make more money and not risk any of my money? So this is terrific. Now tell me, how do you find working with boomers different, if at all, in your practice?
Well, because I am a boomer, I pretty much resonate with people that are in my generation, and I know that they're in a sandwich situation where they got mom and dad that have gotten older, and then they might have kids, and then they're trying to manage both of those worlds and then take care of themselves. So it is really overwhelming, and people don't get really how to manage all this. You go to school, you learn how to make money, you get out of school, you make money, and then what? Right? And most people go to a bank or to a broker, and tell you the truth, most people don't really even like the brokers. And what do? They gamble people's money, but they don't really understand how it works.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm an engineer by education, and I often tell people that numbers don't bother me at all, right? I like numbers. I've always loved numbers. But once you put the dollar sign in front of the numbers and just 2 decimal points after the period, right?
Right.
I get confused instantly. I don't know what it is, right? And I'm sure it's a mindset, and it's it's my own blocks, but I can't be the only one. I refuse to believe that I'm the only one.
It really shocks me how many people are, and me, myself included, I've seen it in myself. There's so much emotional, mental thoughts that are wrapped around the money.
That's what it is.
Oh, my dad gave me the stock. I can never sell it, and I've lost everything, So that's what I like to, a money myth buster. I like to break away the myths, and that's why I put my business in that book, so that people would be empowered. They'd understand how it works and take back control of their own money. So I want to empower people to understand basic planning so they're not in that confusion and they won't be overwhelmed when the next whatever happens.
And overwhelm's a good word. That's what happens when it comes to money. People do get overwhelmed. So share with people your top 3 tips. What are the top 3 tips you would give boomers regarding their money?
Okay. Well, those are the 3 main things that I say, my 3 secrets for safe money and a fabulous future. And you know what? They're not secrets, but they just aren't talked about. Major media mainstream does not want to really talk about. It's not big money for an agent. So you get 1 commission as an agent to do these kind of projects. So I'd make a lot more money selling stocks. But to me, it's not just about making money. It's about doing a good service for people and doing what I want for myself, too. Mm-hmm. So I show people what I have and what I've done myself. So the 3 things that I found, and I've watched this for 23 years, people who come into my office at 70 and 80 and start planning. And that's like, okay, well, they've missed a lot of really good things that you can get when you're younger. So there are 3 main things that I've seen that people need to do to protect their assets from long-term care, nursing home costs, probate, and the Great Recession. So, number 1, long-term care is a subject that we really don't even want to talk about. But that's 7 out of 10 of us over 65 will end up in a convalescent care. And guess what? Your Medicare, your HMOs, your health insurance doesn't cover it. And 85% of bankruptcies are for medical expenses. The average cost for a nursing home is $170 to $500 a day. And, I'll never forget the look on my mom's face. This is why I'm so empowered behind it, because she came up to me one day and she had this big tear in her eye. And she handed me this paper and she said, I want you to share this with your clients. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, Stanford Hospital. And I started reading and then I got the big tear in my eye. She had cancer for 10 years. She had chemo 5 days. And guess how much it was?
I haven't a clue.
It's shocking. 5 days of chemo, $90,000.
Oh my God.
I know. And she had it 5 days a month for a year. So $1 million is not a lot of money.
Right.
And my parents didn't have long-term care. They were like the dream couple. I mean, my dad worked out at the gym in his 80s. My mom worked out at the gym in her late 70s with cancer. So I never imagined my parents would end up having to need care. So they both did. My mom's home care, get ready for this, $15,000 a month. So, like I say, $1 million is not a lot of money, and they weren't prepared. But my dad was in the, he's 95 now, and he was in the generation of Medicare will take care of it. Medicare is not going to take care of it, and neither is your health insurance. So that is one huge disaster that I see everybody fall through the cracks. 7 out of 10 over 65, and it's like 2 or 4 under 65. There were a rule in the hospital called the DRG rule, which means get you out of there as soon as possible. Mm. So if you're in a hospital more than 3 days, they'll get less money. So they'll get people out of the hospital within 3 days. And here's one. My mom was in intensive care, day 2, Stanford Hospital. They moved her to a nursing home. So it's a big plague, and it isn't age-driven anymore. It isn't 70, 90, you're in a nursing home. A lot of people are younger that are in nursing homes now, and this is really important for people to wrap around this. So that's one.
Wow.
Okay.
And you're right. Long-term care is something that, people hear those words, but they don't really want to understand what it means.
No, and
I'm one of them. I've put off understanding what it means for a long time, and my husband and I actually just started tackling it this year.
Good.
And I just turned 51 this week, and he's 52.
Uh-huh.
So we're relatively young, right, in the whole big scheme of things.
Yeah, halfway through.
But we've seen friends, pass away at our age,
Right.
and we've got neighbors and relatives whose parents are older, like yours, and you start to see that it's something that you really, even though it might seem overwhelming, and you think, I don't have the money for that, or the alternative is so much more devastating.
Exactly.
If you don't take care of it. You really have to wrap your head around it.
It's so important.
I didn't want to, interrupt you with your three tips, but it really is important.
It is. And I mean, if I break my leg skiing, I'm going to a nursing home. So it isn't an age thing anymore, because you have to recover somewhere. That's basically the point. So hospitals aren't recovery places anymore.
Yes.
And they've just broken everything down because that system is broken. So now it's all independent. So it's now out of the pocket. And so you actually, by getting yourself long-term care insurance, actually protects not only your assets from spend down, but gives you your golden years in comfort instead of a nightmare. And I'll tell you, my mom said to me, these are the golden years. Man, I just started to sob. I mean, She said the golden years turn to dust, because it's so hard if you don't have these things planned out. And so you're really smart. 50 years old, that's halfway through. That's how I look at it. Use 100 as the marker. A lot of people set themselves short by saying, oh, well, I'm only going to live to 80, or my parents died at 60. And then they just stop themselves instead of take care of yourself, right? And drink all your water, be vegetarian, right? You do your exercises. So when you plan like you're going to have longevity, then you look into, right, in your midlife, into making sure that you're going to be comfortable and where you want to be.
It's such a necessity. So that was just one tip.
Just one.
Yeah, give us a second tip.
Okay. The second one is make sure your money is safe. Now, I'm an optimist, but the money gurus are saying in the next year, we're going to have some big trouble. The crash is going to happen again. And it's a fascinating phenomenon, what happens to people. I was honored to be the guest speaker in Washington, D.C., to the U.S. Government Financial Officers Association. Now, these aren't the politicians, but these are the folks that handle the billions and trillions. And when I was speaking to them about pretirement, I said, how many of you are ready for pretirement? Maybe 2% raise their hand. And then I go, well, you're the government, right? And everybody laughs, and then they go, well, we're busy taking care of everybody's money. And that's the excuse everybody uses. Well, I'm busy raising my kids, or I'm busy working, or I'm busy. And this is so important. It's just something not to put off, but everybody does. Really, the majority of this population is not prepared. So, as I was saying, if you drew a circle and you looked at all of your assets and you put them in a little circle, you'll find that the majority of your assets are at risk. Mutual funds, bonds, stocks. The next downturn, you're going to lose money unless you know about the safe money strategies I talk about. So after that crash in the year 2000, I did not like the experience of losing money. And
none of us did.
No. So that's when I really drilled down and learned about equity index annuities with income riders. These have been around since the Middle Ages. One of the secrets I talk about in my book, that you could actually take your IRA, your 401k, roll it over, get a 10% bonus. So say you had 100,000, you make 10,000, and they get ready for this. Get ready. They add a roll-up of 7%. This is that they add to your money for an income that you'll never outlive. So by having longevity, your money will double and triple. And here's a really neat thing. When the next crash comes, your money just stays right there. It has a bottom on it. It never goes down. Now, there are a lot of them out there, so it's not just anyone will work. There's special ones that I have my money in that I show my clients, really, because there's a lot out there. There's bad ones, too, so it's not like they're all good. I don't want to make a generic statement.
Yeah.
But that's like people 50 and up. Then there's a really incredible thing that really makes me mad that I didn't find out till my late 50s, which is an index universal life insurance. So this is really good for people 34 to 54. And what this does, get ready for this, it lets you get income 100% tax-free. So what it is, it's life insurance, built on a life insurance chassis. And what you do, the way you set it up is you overfund it. And what you're doing is setting up an income for yourself while you're alive. It's not set up like a death benefit. So we had a client, he was 38, put $500 a month in, and at 65, 67, he's set to receive $82,000 a year, 100% tax-free for the rest of his life.
Wow.
Can you imagine that?
No, I can't.
I mean, I know.
That's fabulous.
Why didn't anybody tell me? So this is why I'm really passionate about getting this information out. I wouldn't have ever done the investments in the stock if I knew about an IUL. I passed the time. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to tell everybody about it, because that's a place that your money grows consistently in the last 30 years, 7 to 9%. That's
so doable.
Yeah.
$500. I'm sure you can do less. You can do more.
Right.
But that's not a huge amount of money
No.
to most people who are employed.
Right.
You might have a mortgage. You might have various other things. But a $500 a month payment in order to be making that kind of income when you're retirement ready, age. That's a really good idea. So that was just tip number 2?
That's just tip number 2.
We have one more tip.
We'll have to have separate shows on each topic because there's so much in each one. But okay, the next one is your legal documents, right? Okay. So mom and dad go out to dinner and maybe they don't come back. Who's going to take care of the kids? Guardianships, right? Mm-hmm. Living trust. Now, I used to volunteer at retirement centers, and when I saw how these attorneys were just little old ladies with nothing, charging them $5,000, $10,000 for living trusts, I decided I was going to get this information out. Here's another secret. Guess what? Living trusts have been around since the Middle Ages, and living trusts are legal documents that are created to own and manage your estate. And so when you go to heaven, it lets you give what you have directly to your family without any middlemen. No courts, no attorneys, no probate. And it keeps all your assets in your estate. So they're really amazing. A good comprehensive trust includes powers of attorney for financial, health care, pour-over will, living will. It's a whole lot of documents. We have a trust package. We've been making it for 23 years. We've made over 5,000. They work just fine. And we do them all over the country. That's why, I'm a national speaker and I go all over in different groups and share this. We now have, I worked with an attorney and created software. So the pre-boomers can do this and not have to pay $15,000 for all these legal documents, because I'm trying to empower people to take back control of their own money and learn the safe money strategies.
Yeah, and those trusts are so important. That's another thing. My parents have had one forever.
That's great.
And I didn't really understand it until, like I said, we had some health crises. My husband had some health crises over the last year and a half, and it really made us stop and look, right. At all of these things and start to get this stuff in order. And, the government changes their laws, and they change, entitlements. They change the things that they're going to give us over time, whether we paid into them or not. But if you do something like a trust, you can have a lot more say over the assets you do have and where they go once you're gone, and how they're distributed and how often and over what period of time. And you can really take care of your family by using them. They're a really good idea, I've learned.
And they're not just for when you go. They're for why you're here, because they have powers of attorney.
Right.
So if you become incapacitated, they can pay the bills or make medical decisions. So and guardianship.
Yes,
for
that's
minor
a big
children.
one.
So this all helps us while we're alive, and then keeps the tax man out of your estate and lets it, and the court costs, and it just goes to your family.
No one wants the IRS at their door.
Nobody, right?
Nobody, not now, not ever.
Right, exactly, exactly.
So tell me, what would you say is the biggest, if you could identify one, what's the biggest challenge or the biggest concern that you think boomers are experiencing regarding retirement right now?
Right. That is a great question. And, AARP just did a survey on it, that same question. You know what it is? 63% of people are more concerned about running out of money than death.
Really?
Isn't that shocking?
Says a lot.
63%. Most people I talk to realize that time is speeding up and, everything is changing on this planet. And there's a lot of people that feel like the bottom is about to drop out. And there's
there's a lot of things going on.
Right? So that's why I really encourage people to get safe, really. I mean, look, what are you doing differently than 2008? And I look at everybody and they're all the deer in the headlights because nobody's really doing anything different. We're getting so busy. Everything is better again, right? It's all back to where it was. So many people say, my money's back to where it was. I go, that's great. You just lost 7-8 years now and it's coming again.
Right.
But imagine if you just have a consistent income that's paying you 7%, and when it's time for you to not work so much, you're going to have an income that's going to be paid to you for the rest of your life. You can do it on 2 lives, too, you and your husband. So if he has a retirement, it would just keep paying to you.
Right.
We got to become our own Social Security.
We really do. I never imagined that it would be around by the time I'm ready to retire. I've never had that fantasy.
You're smart.
I know a lot of people do, but
Yes.
I just assume it won't be there.
That's good.
If it is there, then that's a little, a little extra icing on my cake.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
But I don't think we can count on that.
No.
So, God, you're right. We could have a million shows about all of these different things because they can get very detailed. But tell me, if you were to give someone listening to this interview right now, right? They've heard your 3 tips. They've heard the challenge. If you wanted to give them one call to action, one thing to get up and start right now to do, to be able to make a change in their life for the better so that they're not going to get caught like the deer in the headlights, that they get their pre-retirement, or even they might be at retirement at this point too. What can they do now?
Okay, well, I'll give you a couple things. Start your retirement holiday. Give yourself a day to take off, a Sunday, whatever, and dedicate that day to your planning. Sit down with your spouse, your family, and decide what you're going to do. Now, I invite everybody to reach out to me. I'm happy to help. Pretirement Secrets. I have a little workbook. Go get that workbook. It's free. Download it. It'll give you some steps to take. I also have I'll give you a text number in a second here for you, so you can text this other workbook. Grab my book. In the back of the book, there's a little planning and step-by-step instructions, so you can download that and actually start to organize and make a plan. Start to be proactive. You can't wrap around it all at once. Do a little bit every time. Take time out. Start planning now. If you want to learn about the strategies, reach out to me, right? And I'm happy to help and share. Let me reach over here and grab this text number since I don't have it memorized.
Sure. And that was going to be my next question for you, Kris, is to reiterate for people the best way for them to get in touch with you, right? Your websites.
Thank you. That's really sweet of you. Okay, well, text secrets at 67463. You'll get it. There'll be
67463 is
Correct.
The number that you're going to text to, and you're going to text the word secrets.
Correct. Right.
Gotcha.
You can also go to pretirementsecrets.com
Okay.
or my website, Ready for Pretirement. There's also an article on the 3 myths, and it starts to drill down and break down because each one of these topics is really elaborate. I have a program that if you reach out to me at Kris, Kris, at Ready, READY, FORPRETIREMENT.com. You can reach me there, or my blog is great too, Kris Miller Money Maestro. And I'm happy to help you. You can actually call our office. I work all over the country. And if you want, I'll give the phone number. It's 951-926-4158. I'm happy to help. And if you have any organizations or groups you want to invite me to come speak, I'm happy to help there too.
And you'll travel too to
I
speak
travel
to
all
groups.
over the country.
That's That's great to know. And in case you weren't able to take notes, I will make sure that I put all these links in the show notes on the website at boomersultimateguidepodcast.com, so that you don't have to worry about pulling over and writing these things down. There are people that will be listening to this interview in their car, because podcasting is something that's getting easier and easier to listen to in the car with technology and the apps that cars are coming with. And I don't want them to panic that they didn't get that information. You can always go back to the website and get it.
Right.
And remember, Kris is with a K. It's Kris.
Thank you.
Right,
yes.
not Chris. Kris. Miller.
Right.
So keep that in mind. And this has been fascinating. Like I said, I get a little overwhelmed, with all these things, because this is really not my bailiwick, right? Finance and money. But the more people I talk to, the more it's starting to sink in. You need to listen to this over and over again until it makes sense. And I like what you said about giving yourself a little planning holiday.
Right.
People have probably heard that old adage, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So it doesn't matter how big this elephant is to you. All of these money matters that you need to deal with. It's a little bit of time every week, and working your way through the workbook, right? And answering the questions, writing down notes for yourself. I need to talk to this person or that person. I need this account number, that account number. You just slowly, and over time, you'll be able to look back and say, oh, wow, I got through a lot of this. And yeah, I was scared and I was overwhelmed in the beginning, but it really wasn't all that bad, because there's very little on the face of the earth that's rocket science, quite frankly.
Right.
Very little is. As long as you break things down into those digestible little bites and just keep, working at it, you can get through it.
Exactly. And I just wanted to throw this in. If you want to speed the process up, or you need to know, or maybe you have parents that are critical or something's emergency, you can reach out to me, and what I do is called a financial fitness review. And I'll do a strategy session with you complimentary to see if you fit the strategy. Financial fitness review is where I look at what you have, where it is, your kids, your health, your wealth, and then I'll show you custom safe money strategies that relate directly to you and your family.
Excellent. Yeah, because not everyone has all the time in the world either, right? Sometimes you end up in crisis and you need it now. You need what you need it now.
Yes.
Very good. Kris Miller, it has been fantastic talking to you.
I've really enjoyed it. Really. Thank you.
Would you like to leave someone with an inspirational quote or a little story, something that we can walk away with?
I saw that little note. I was thinking about that this morning, of something that just comes to me a lot. And it's an attitude. And the more that I'm going into that, the more my doors just fly open. But it's the consciousness of lift while you climb. In other words, look for someone else to help, and it'll come to you every day. You'll see somewhere where you could kind of go out of your way, even if it's just to smile to a stranger or help the guy on the street or whatever.
Open a door. Right.
Open a door. If you give a little, and it's fascinating, because I've been finding, like, I've been paying it forward to help some children, with some challenges. But it's funny, as I pay it forward in one place, I get blessed in the other place. So, but you don't do it for that reason. But it is a consciousness of lift while you can, and look for peace on earth, no killing, peace on earth, and it changes your life, really.
I love that, and you're absolutely correct. I'm a martial artist, and one of the things that as you become a black belt and you get higher and higher level black belts, our master would demand of us, you have to do 10 acts of kindness a day. You have to do 15 acts of kindness, right? And it could be as simple as opening a door for someone, or, they drop something on the sidewalk and you don't just ignore it.
Right, exactly.
You pick it up and give it back to them. But those little things create that a mindset shift.
That's right.
And then things change.
Mm-hmm. Right? Opens the magical doors there.
It does. It really does. I love that. I've never heard it put that way, but I like that. Lift while you climb. Right. So, Kris Miller, thank you so much for talking about pretirement with us. I very much appreciate it. And like I said, you'll be able to get the show notes and get links to all of her websites and her resources. And for those of you out there who are listening, this is the Boomer's Ultimate Guide podcast, where I try to bring you experts from all kinds of areas of your life that are going to help you build thriving businesses, because that's what I help my clients do. But it's not just about business. It's about having a vibrant life. And there are lots of parts and pieces to that. And your pre-retirement's just one of them. So thank you again, Kris. And for all of you out there, we will see you on the next episode. Take care.
All right.
You've been watching Boomers Ultimate Guide TV, the place where baby boomers like me and like you can come together to learn, share, and grow a thriving business and vibrant life. See you next time.